Hi, this is Debbie Bailey. I have my voice back. I'm not all better, but I can yap. And I cannot make part 3 without it being at least 80 minutes long. There's no way I'm putting myself or you through that. So I took down all my A Song of Ice and Fire videos. The only one I left up was the direwolf theory. I've been reading and rereading certain parts of A Song of Ice and Fire books. I've watched the first 3 episodes of House of the Dragon Season 1 a ton more times, and I've changed my mind about a few things, and I have a few new theories. And the first one I'd like to talk about is the connection between Aegon the Conqueror and Daenerys Targaryen. George R.R. Martin calls Aegon the Conqueror a dragon dreamer. And he says that his prophetic dream is canon. And what his prophetic dream told him was that he saw a vision of a terrifying winter coming from the far, far north, a terrifying cold that would wipe out every living thing. That he must conquer Westeros. At this time, Westeros is not a unified country. They're just warring houses. Him and his sister wives have to conquer Westeros. They have to be united. And that only by being united and standing together would they even have a chance against this threat from the far north. And finally, that a Targaryen of old Valyrian blood must be on the Iron Throne to keep Westeros united together. Okay, so that's canon. That is what is canon. Now, how does this tie into Daenerys Targaryen? Okay. 160 years or so after all the dragons have died, Daenerys Targaryen builds this huge funeral pyre that has her dead husband, Drogo, in it, their deceased son and heir, Rhaego, in there, Drogo's stallion, who was sacrificed to save his life, which didn't happen, the witch who performed this blood magic, tied to the funeral pyre, Marie Mastor. The 3 eggs are in there. This funeral pyre is blazing hot. And she walks straight into it herself, Daenerys. And when all the smoke is cleared, Daenerys Targaryen is unscathed. Now, she is naked. She is bald. 2 of the dragons are nursing at her breast because she still has milk left for her deceased son, Rhaego. And one of them is on her shoulder. And she does nurse them for 2 or 3 days by her breast until she starts feeding them charred meat. She is the mother of dragons. George R. R. Martin calls this the one-time wondrous miracle. And Daenerys Targaryen breaks every single rule and law of old Valyria of how to bring dragons into the world. This is undisputed fact. It's just the truth. All right? So we go back to Aegon now. Aegon Targaryen, before the conquest, they had no sigil and no house words. But Aegon the Conqueror himself made this sigil. 1 dragon body with 3 heads, and the house words, fire and blood. Why? He could have easily come up with a banner like this. that immortalized himself, his sister wives, their dragons, Balerion the Dread, right? But he didn't. He came up with this instead. Why? I think he saw Dany in the future, hatching these petrified dragon eggs through fire and blood. And he left this sigil for, in posterity. So people would realize who Azor Ahai is when she came, which they didn't. Right? I do not think this is a stretch. Now, George R. R. Martin is a great writer, but he's also vague. He omits things. He drives us a little crazy. And to me, this is something George R. R. Martin just might do. All right? Everybody's arguing about who her writers are going to be. The other writers that ride these dragons, about, who's going to betray her, who's going to, Look, man, I've done nothing but become more and more convinced that these are her dragons. They're hers. And God only knows what kind of shape she's in the Dothraki Sea right now with Drogon. But when everything is said and done, she's going to come out of there with the Dothraki. They're going to view her as the stallion who mounts the world because she's riding Drogon. All right? And Quaithe needs to give Dany a little bit more information. The dragons, remember, do you? No, that's not enough. She needs her own vision of the White Walkers, the long night, her true purpose. She also needs some magic to bind those dragons, those two other dragons, to herself that are causing chaos over there in Meereen. So nobody can ever take them from her. And I think Quaithe can help her. I also think that Red Priest can help her too. Isn't it Victarion Greyjoy who has Dragon Binder? I'm not really quite sure. But no one's taken those dragons from Dany. And although she's going to take this dark turn, it's only going to be core betrayal that sets off the dragon in Daenerys. And I think, I really would love to get rid of this Meereenese knot. Truly, I would. When she gets to Meereen, she's going to find core betrayal from top to bottom. From her political husband, Histar, to the Sons of the Harpy, most of her council, Dario Naharis, and even the slaves she freed. They're not going to view her as the mother anymore. She flew off on Drogon. She abandoned them. She didn't protect them or support them. They hate her now. And that's going to be the thing that breaks her back. Right? So she can get, as many of her people out of Meereen as possible. Get those dragons to herself. Reunite the trio, the child of three. And send those Dothraki in to slay her enemies. Slay them. Use the Unsullied to go back in and smuggle out all the gold in the middle of the night. And when she is certain that all her people are out, she goes back with those 3 dragons and she burns Meereen to the ground. She's going to melt that city. Meereen will be the city she burns to the ground. Okay? Now, by this time, I believe, Cersei will be out. Griff will be on the throne. Varys will be there with his little birds. And he's going to make sure that everybody up and down Westeros, including the North, knows about the Mad Queen and her 3 terrifying dragons who burned this great city across the sea to ashes. That's what I think. So before she even steps onto Dragonstone, she's going to have this nickname of the Mad Queen. But she's not. And no one in Westeros has betrayed her at a core level. She'll have Jorah. She'll have Ser Barristan Selmy. She'll have the Red Priest. She'll have Missandei. And she'll also have Tyrion. I've got a lot to say about him, but not today. I believe he's the true Mad Mother of this story. Anyway, to get back to this theory of mine, I believe it. I believe that instead of leaving a banner like this that immortalized him and his sister wives, he knew there was a higher purpose to that dream he had. The dragon dreamer, okay, Aegon the Conqueror. He left this sigil of Daenerys Targaryen, her 3 children, her 3 dragons, and how she brought them into the world through fire and blood. I have a few more theories that I'd like to share with you. I'm really not all better yet, but at least I have my voice back. So thanks so much for listening. Bye.